Okay, this is part 2 of the book of Enoch. And what we're going to do here is we're going to do a little study on the Mount Hermon, or Hermon, or Herminium, the Oros Hermon. And what's fascinating, and I was doing a little research on this, we are going to do from Enoch 1, a direct comparative aspect within the Gospels, starting in Matthew and some miscellaneous accounts, I believe in Luke as well too, of when Jesus took Peter, James, and John to the mountain of his transfiguration, and there they witnessed it. So we see Herminium and Hermon, where where we established last time, were the egregoroi, or the wakeful ones, or what some would deem as the watchers, which is a horrible translation, but the wakeful ones were where they gained access, I guess, so to speak. So that's the egregor, the watchful ones. So we're just going to jump right in here, right into Gospel of Matthew, and then having come into the region, Jesus. So Helthandeo Jesus ais ta mere. Where did he come? What region did he come to? Caesarius tes Philippo. Okay. And he was talking to his disciples. Herotatos Matataias, or Matatas. Now, what's fascinating about this, okay, is this Caesarius, or the Caesarea of, or Caesarea of Philippi, which is at the base of Mount Hermon, right? Caesarea Philippi. It's the temple of Baal Hermon. All right? Now let that sink in a little bit here. So where Jesus is at, the prototokos, right? The firstborn of the huietoanthropos, because that's what he calls himself over and over and over again. Huietoanthropo, right? Son of man. This is where he comes, and his transfiguration takes place, right? Because he says, he was questioning the disciples, saying, "Autos legon, tinta legosin oi anthropoi aipen ton huio tu anthropon." Whom do men say who's the Son of Man? And they said, some say John the Baptist, other Halayan, others Yeremiah, Henaton Propheto, or one of the prophets. And he says, Legaiautos humai dadhina de legate ainai. But who do you say I am? And answering, Apokrithis de Simon Petros, or Simon the Rock, Petros said, you are the Christ. Zuai o Christos, o huias to theo to zontos. You are the Christ, the Son of God, of the living. Huias to Theo to zontos. And then Christ answered him and said, blessed are you. For sarx kai hima oik apocalypsen, or like apocalypse, apocalypsen su, or soy. For flesh and blood did not reveal this to you, but my Father, hal o patermu, the one o en to Uranos, one in the heavens, right? And so they go on, and he gives the account of miscellaneous, so on and so forth. And he calls out the egregores, or the wakeful ones that were there at Baal Hermon, because as we established before, the wakeful ones were imprisoned in the earth until the time of judgment, and their offspring, or the gigantes, were forced to walk the earth as disembodied, carnivorous, passionate spirits that cannot fulfill their passions and desires, aka daimons, or demons, and to this day still do. Now, he says, truly I say to you, amen, legon humen hoto hesin. Some of the ones standing here, who's standing here? Who's standing at Baal Hermon, where they are? Tintes ton ode hes ton, who will by no means taste death until they see the Son of Man coming with the kingdom of him. Is that not what their punishment was? The egregores, who came to the mountain of the curse, Hermione, as we established the last time. Because that was their judgment. They're imprisoned until they see the huian to anthropon. So, hontis oi, hontis o me gusotai thanato, eos han idosan ton huian to anthropon, her komenon hen te basalaya auto, until they see the huian to anthropo, the Son of Man, coming with the kingdom, the basalaya of him. This is Christ's proclamation. Now, and after 6 days, kai meth hemeras, Jesus takes Petron, kai Jacobon, kai Yonan. So Peter, James, and John, the brother of him, ton aldo von auto, and he brings them up to a high mountain privately. Okay, kai han ferai autos ais horos upsilon kat idan. What's the high mountain? Remember, where are we here? Right? We're at Baal Hermon. In Baal Hermon, the Caesarea Philippi is Baal Hermon. It's at the base of Hermione, or Hermon, where the Watchers came in. So they're at the base, and he takes Peter, James, and John, which he built his church upon, Iglesia, right? And he takes them to the Horos Upsilon, up the mountain, up the high mountain, right? This isn't rocket science, y'all. And there, kai metamorphothe, he was transfigured before them. Hem prosten auto, and his face shone like the sun. Kai helmanpsen to prosopon auto osto helios, and his garments became brilliantly white, or brilliantly as light. Luca ostofos, right? His hemata auto hegenato Luca ostofos. And look, kaidu ofte autos Moises kai helias. Sula lontes met auto. Moses and Elijah were there conversing with him. Why were Moses and Elijah there on top of Mount Hermon conversing with Christ? Let's put two and two together here, folks. Who are the only two prophets that ever ascended the mountain, right? And who did they talk to on the top of that mountain? Jesus. Moses and Elijah were the only two to ever be on top of Mount Hermon. And now, here is a vision that can be seen as clear as day before the witnesses, right? For the wakeful ones, if you will, the egregores, all the witnesses of the testifying to the transfigured Christ, right before their eyes. And Peter, James, and John are there. And the church he builds upon is there. Everyone sees it, right? Conversing with him and answering. Apokrites de Petros, and Peter said to Jesus, I've been told, Jesu Kyrie, it's good for us to be here. You know, kalon hestin hemas ode einai. If you wish, we'll build, 3 tents, 3 skenas, 3 tres skenas, or make a memorial, or so on and so forth, for you and Moses, one for Elijah, and so on and so forth. But while he was still saying this and speaking this, hetioto lalontas odo nephele fotaine, a shining cloud, nephele fotaine, overshadowed them. E peskia senautos, and look, kai ido, a voice from the cloud was speaking. Phono ek tes nephelas legosa, and this is what the voice says, right? Hotos esten o huios muy o agapetos hen o eudokesa acusete auto. I'll say it again. Acusete auto. This is the son of me. Hotos esten o huios muy o agapetos, the beloved, in whom I am well pleased. En o eudokesa, listen to him. Acuete auto, listen to him. And then, having heard this, the disciples fell on their face, prosopon, and they were greatly terrified. Ephobe thesan sphodra, right? And then after that, Jesus kai apsamenos auto aipen egrethete kai me phobaiste ipanteste detos ophthalmos auto odina aidon me auto Jesu monon. So they were greatly terrified, and then Jesus reached out and touched them and said, arise, and do not be afraid. And having lifted their eyes, they saw no one except Christ himself. And I'm telling you what, y'all, this is just cool. This is just cool as cool can be. Now, They then came down the mountain because they saw the transfiguration. We will read in another passage, I believe in Luke, where the same aspect, but just expounding upon it, where it says they are asleep and they woke up, and we'll save that for the last because it's very fascinating. Excuse me. Now, what's the first thing that happens when Christ comes down from the mountain of the curse, right? With all the, and I'm not going to explain everything again. We covered it kind of thoroughly here. He comes down, and having come down to the crowd, came to him a man, right? Proselthen autos anthropos gone peton, kneeling down before them and saying, Lord, have mercy on my son. Heleson mu ton huion, for he is epileptic. Selenia zetai kais kakos, and he suffers paskai. Kakos is suffers terribly is kind of an understatement. He's just totally possessed in every way, shape, or form. For often he falls into the fire, aiste pur, and often into the water, aiste hudor. And I brought him to the disciples of you, the ones that were down there waiting in Baal Hermon, and they weren't able to heal him. Apothera peusai. This is the key word here. Therapeusai, where we get the word therapy, therapeutic. This is the healing of the name of Jesus. Therapeusai, therapeutic. In answering, Jesus said, O genia apistos kai dis tramene eos tote meth hemon esomai heos pote ane zomai hemon. And this is what everyone gets wrong. Jesus said, O faithless and depraved generation, how long will I be with you? Until when? Well, how long do I have to put up with you, right? People are like, oh, they're talking about us and this. No. What's the faithless and depraved generation, right? The watchers. Where was he? Where did he come down? Where is he transfigured? What is he dealing with? He's dealing with the unclean spirits that were cursed to walk, the daimons, the demons, right? These are the unclean spirits that are forced to walk the earth and prey upon that which they cannot fulfill in their passions. And it's that's the way it goes, right? That's who he's talking about. So he says to the father, Perete mo auto olde, bring him to me, or bring your son to me. And what did he do? Kai epeti mesen it, and he rebuked it. He rebuked the spirit. Ohuios, and it came out of him. What did? The daimonon. Yoste excelethen auto to daimonon. And the child was healed in that. This is such an absolutely fantastic account. It really honestly is. And if one wasn't enough, right, we can look in Luke 9 as well. And what we're going to do here in this little bit is where he says, Aisto horas proseu xasai, and he went up to the mountain to pray. Remember, like we discussed previous, because he had taken Petron, Kai Jonon, Kai Jacobon, and Peter, John, and James, and they went up to the top of the mountain, right? Because they were in Baal Hermon, or Caesarea Philippi, and so they went on top of the mountain to pray. Proseuxatai, right? And it came about while he was praying, proseuxatai auto eidos to prosopo, of him, the appearance of his face became different. Et toron kai o hematismos, in the clothing of him, or in his clothing, auto luctos exastrapton, became dazzling white. And look, two men, Andres duo, two men, were conversing with him, just like we saw before. Who were they? Well, hoi tenes hesan Moisos kai Elias. Well. Who, having appeared in glory, that's key word, oi ophtentes and doxa, because that's where Christ visited him on the mountain in glory, doxa, were speaking of, what were they speaking of? Helegon ten exodon auto. We were speaking of his exodus, which he was about to fulfill in Jerusalem. Who's he? Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Auto hen hemelen plerun in Jerusalem. What does that have in common? And what was Moses and Elijah doing in their own rights? That they were leading their people in their time in an exodus, right? And Christ is the prototokos. Why? Because he's the Kyrios, the Lord, who Moses and Elijah met on top of Mount Hermon in the pre-existing Old Testament works, right? Come on, we can put two and two together here. It's okay. It's okay for theology to have clarity. That's why pretty soon, if it all pans out, I'm going to be doing a deep dive into Thomas Aquinas. I am very excited about this, into his Summa Theologia, but that's for down the road, Lord willing. Anyways, now on to the next aspect. But Peter, right? Ode Petros kai oi, and the ones with him, son auton, what happened? Hesan be bar e menoi up non. Now, this translation, or what we have, they're weighed down with sleep. Oh, they're so sleepy. No. They can't see, if you understand what I'm saying. They haven't woke up. None of this woke business. None of that here. That's not what we're talking about. They can't see. They can't see the what? What can't they see? The doxa, the glory. But they will, right? And then why? Because dia Gregorantes. Dia Gregorantes. Oops, I forgot the sigma. Dia Gregorantes. They saw the glory of him in the two men standing with him. De idon ten doxon auto kai tos duo andras tos sunes tas auto. What's so important about this? The dia Gregore. Do you hear what I'm saying here? Gregore. Egregore. Right? What is that? The wakeful ones. The ones being awakened. The wakeful ones. If you need me to spell it out, don't worry, I did. Egregoroi. Wakeful. Enoch 1:5. Egregor. Right? I'm not saying the disciples are egregores. I'm saying egregore, that word means wakeful ones, the ones that can see with the perception of, what can they see? The doxon, the glory. To end this video, and I think we'll be doing a part 3 of Enoch, because, man, this is so much fun. The prayer for each and every one of us is, Lord, wake us up. Wake us up. Dia Gregore Sanctes. To do what? So we can Eidon ten doxon. We can see your glory. Okay, until next time.